Why did the concept artist go broke? Because he kept drawing blank checks. Welcome to the fascinating world of game development, where the first step is always a leap of imagination. Concept art is where this journey begins, laying the foundation for the entire game universe. It's like the first brushstroke on a blank canvas that sets the tone for everything to come. It's the magic wand that transforms vague ideas into visual realities, helping everyone on the team to see the final product, even before it's built. Now here's a funny thing about game developers and artists. They often look at the same concept and see completely different things. It's like showing them a tomato and one sees a fruit, the other a vegetable. But that's what makes this process so exciting. So remember, folks, concept art is like a roadmap. If you don't have one, you might just end up in the middle of nowhere. Or worse, in a game full of squares and circles. Ever wonder how the journey from concept art to game world begins? It's like asking a caterpillar how it turns into a butterfly. Spoiler alert, it's complicated and involves a lot of coffee. Imagine a bustling hive of artists and developers, all working in harmony to create a masterpiece. The first step is taking that concept art, that beautiful vision, and translating it into something developers can work with. It's a little like trying to read an ancient hieroglyph without a Rosetta Stone. Tricky, but not impossible. Artists sketch out their ideas, bringing worlds to life on paper or digital canvas. But then, developers have to take these two-dimensional masterpieces and transform them into three-dimensional game environments. They use a variety of software and tools to accomplish this. Think of it as the artist's paintbrush and palette, but instead of oils and watercolors, they're working with polygons and textures. It's a bit like sculpting, but with a lot more zeros and ones. Now, this process isn't always smooth sailing. It's riddled with trial and error, and let's be honest, a lot of disagreements. Picture an artist and developer locked in a heated debate over the correct shade of green for a virtual tree, or the size of a dragon's wing, or whether a castle should have 4 towers or 5. It's a bit like watching a culinary show, but instead of arguing about how much salt to add, they're debating over pixel density. But through all the chaos and coffee-fueled late nights, a game world begins to take shape. The sketch becomes a 3D model. The static drawing starts to move and interact. The flat colors gain depth and detail. It's a bit like watching a black and white film slowly transform into vibrant color. And that's how you get from a sketch to a 3D model, folks. It's like baking a cake, but instead of flour and eggs, you're using polygons and textures. And no, you can't eat it when you're done. Now, onto the nitty-gritty details, or as we like to call it in the gaming industry, the pull your hair out stage. Picture this. You've just moved into a new house. It's your dream home, but the previous owner was a hoarder. And not just any hoarder. Oh no, they were a collector of the most random items you could ever imagine. There are rooms filled with stuffed flamingos, walls plastered with vintage milk caps, and don't even get me started on the garden gnome infestation. Now it's your job to turn this chaotic jumble into a livable, cozy space. This is practically what developers go through when refining a game world. They start with the basic structure, the walls and the roof, if you will. But then comes the daunting task of adding details, tweaking elements, and creating immersive environments. Imagine having to decide where each flamingo goes, or how the light hits each milk cap just right, or how to position those pesky gnomes to avoid an all-out gnome rebellion. It's a labor of love, of course, but also one of frustration, debate, and many, many cups of coffee. And let's not forget about the getting ready for a date phase. This is when developers dress up the game world, making sure every element is as attractive as possible. It's like deciding which shirt brings out the color of your eyes before a big date, or choosing the perfect pair of shoes to make you look taller. Every detail matters, from the texture of a wall to the shadow cast by a tree. And just like how you check your reflection one last time before leaving the house, developers go through countless iterations to make sure everything is just perfect. So next time you're playing a game and you see a misplaced pixel or an odd texture, just remember, someone probably spent hours debating over that. And yes, they're still crying over it. You've heard of from rags to riches, now get ready for from sketches to pixels. Welcome to the grand finale of our journey from concept art to game world. It's been quite the ride, hasn't it? From the first strokes of a pencil sketch to the last tweak of a pixel, it's been a roller coaster of creativity, innovation, and probably a few too many cups of coffee. Seeing the completed game world in all its glory is nothing short of exhilarating. It's like unwrapping a present on Christmas morning, except the present is something you painstakingly crafted yourself over countless sleepless nights, and the wrapping paper is made of code, and the bow, well, the bow is probably a glitch you still need to fix. all jokes aside, there's a certain satisfaction that comes from seeing your ideas come to life in full Technicolor. It's the culmination of countless hours, gallons of sweat, and probably a few tears. But let's not dwell on the past, shall we? Now, you might think that the end of a project is a time for celebration, and you're not wrong. But let's not forget about the dread that comes with starting a new one. It's like the first day of school all over again. New challenges, new obstacles, and the ever-present fear of the blank canvas. But hey, that's what keeps us coming back, right? It's the thrill of the chase, the joy of creation, and the sheer delight of bringing a new world to life from nothing but a few doodles and a whole lot of imagination. And let's not forget about the fun of debugging. Because who doesn't love a good mystery, especially when it's your own code that's the culprit? But in the end, it's all worth it. The satisfaction of seeing your creation come to life, the thrill of overcoming obstacles, and the joy of sharing your world with others. It's a labor of love, and one that we wouldn't trade for anything. And there you have it. From concept art to game world, it's a journey of 1,000 steps, 1,000,000 polygons, and probably a few mental breakdowns. But hey, at least we have fun doing it, right?